Hi folks, happy Friday. Welcome to Restorative Gentle Yoga Practice. It's a little bit chillier than it was the last couple Fridays, so you'll see I've got a sweater on, I've got socks on, and I also covered my mat with a blanket, and I'm going to recommend that you do the same thing. So I'm going to tuck on in over here at the wall. As always, it's a little creative challenge to use my space to teach this class, and you might find the same thing at your house. So I'm going to slide in as close as I can get to this wall, roll over onto my side, and then come onto my back like so. Yeah, so I'll have to move the camera back so you can really see this, but I'm in a room with a slanted roof. So because of my legs being the length that they are, I can't really take them all the way to the wall. Now it's looking like that darkness there is making it hard for you to see. I'm just going to adjust the camera. You go ahead and close your eyes down and get yourself settled there. And we'll just play a little bit with the setup here so that you can see me the best. Maybe it's going to be up here. Yeah, I'm just not sure. So good that you've been with me, I think, before, hopefully, and that this isn't a surprise that I'm always playing around with this setup. Most of my classes I teach on Zoom, and it's a slightly different system, I guess you'd say, than Facebook Live. But they work all as well. So with your eyes closed, let's rest the hands on the belly today, starting our practice, as usual, with breath awareness. I invite you first just to feel your resting breath, to turn all of your attention away from everything else that might draw it right now, and turn your full awareness to your resting breaths. Probably just since we started, your breath has gotten a little longer, a little deeper. And as you're noticing your breath, I want you to contemplate a couple of the qualities that are here now as we're moving further into spring. So one of the qualities comes from all the liveliness, the little birds, the bugs. I even saw a mosquito the other day. The leaves and the blossoms on the trees that waver and oscillate and quake with the wind. So there's this vibrancy, this vitality that's happening. You can see it and you might feel it. It's a solidity that comes from the softening that's happening to the earth. We're quite lucky where we live because we get so much rain that the earth really can soak it up. And this brings a great stabilizing force. Because of the year that we've all had, there's been a lot of change and movement, having to go from one thing to the next, adjusting to working a different way or maybe not working. Maybe adjusting to wearing a mask if you're going to be out, or being in more than you've ever been before. And all the different news that comes that says, now it must be done this way, and now we're going to change again. So that continuous having to adjust can be pretty hard on the nervous system. And it could be the same if we only attended to the fluttering and the oscillating and the continuous change that's real, especially in spring, but it's real all the time. So, to balance that, let's focus on that steadiness and that heaviness, the sturdiness that comes from really slowing down. And let's imagine the body more like a big, great old tree. You can imagine that the torso, the trunk, is like the tree's trunk. And as we're breathing, we want to keep this trunk full of nourishment, full of the water that's drawn from the earth, as well as the nourishment that comes from the sun's warmth and radiance. Let's focus today on that water element. And let's invite the breath to really come right into the belly. Big, long inhalation so the belly inflates and expands. You might feel it rise up towards the ceiling. And on the exhalation, the belly will probably deflate, but let's imagine that that water element stays in your trunk. Let's do that a few more times, just long, belly-filling breaths. So we're working with breath and what the yogis call prana, life force. The prana is associated with the element of water. And prana, unlike water, it doesn't need any particular conditions to be worked with. So water could only by itself flow downhill. But prana, we can move it with our mind and our willingness uphill. So let's try that now. Let's try breathing into the hips and up towards the knees. If you like, you can use your hands slightly touching along your legs to encourage the movement of awareness and energy, life force up the legs. You could say that with the breath, we're irrigating. We're irrigating the density of muscles, bones, blood vessels, all the different ways that our body has been presented, let's say, today. Oh, you can see my parasympathetic nervous system is starting to come on board. Just a few of these long, slower breaths lying on the floor. My body has decided it would be okay to heal and restore and renew. Now, if it's possible for you, keep breathing uphill from your knees all the way to your ankles. And let's include the feet now too. Breathe on up into your feet, along the bottoms of the feet, through the toes, all the way to the tips of the toes. So we notice how prana can be moved, uphill even. And now we're going to reverse that. Let's invite the breath to move from the feet down to the pelvis, encouraging a steady, heavy feeling into your trunk again. And now just start to feel the way that your arms are resting. The upper arms on the floor, your hands on your abdomen. And let's send breath into these arms. And now can you extend the breath into your neck and head? Allowing your head to rest on the floor, along with your arms and your trunk. Feel the steadiness and stability of just lying on your back and breathing for about 10 minutes now. Without wrestling or destabilizing the steadiness, let's take the legs wider apart now. As you settle in your position, this one they call Upavista Konasana, listen for the sounds around you. What do you hear now in the movements of the world, or maybe in the building in which you're practicing? That activity of the birds and the plants, it keeps going. And it might be that it's more enjoyable now that you're more settled. And there's too much change. When it's too fast, too many kinds of change, we get ungrounded. It can be hard to make decisions, hard to think clearly, hard to remember things. And don't be surprised if this comes up as we continue to move through days with lots of news, lots of things happening in the world. And now let's bend the knees and bring the soles of the feet together. Upavista Konasana. And let's take the arms overhead along the floor. Maybe your arms are stretched out straight. Maybe your elbows are softly bent. If overhead doesn't work for your shoulders, then take your elbows down closer to your sides. So normally, if I were yawning, I would probably apologize or say, "Excuse me." But in restorative practice, we could call this a compliment to the practice, saying, "Wow, this is really working. My body is receiving the message. It's time to get soft, restore, and heal. Time to recover from the normal busyness of life. Even if your life isn't as busy as it once was, the mind stays in that state so much of the time. So let's encourage the mind also to reach for the steadiness of moving slowly, staying a little bit quieter, drawing inward. More yawning is happening for me. I wonder if it's happening for you as well. Now we're going to stay with the arms overhead, but if your arms have bent, as mine have, stretch them as straight as they'll go. And it might mean that your arms are no longer on the floor, but they're up above the floor. Don't worry about the position there. Let's reach a little more through the right arm and reach a little more through the right sitting bone, lengthening the whole right side of your trunk. And take a long, slow in-breath. And then as you exhale, let that right side relax again. Reach through the left arm and the left sitting bone And you might find that your left leg moves itself closer to the wall. That's fine. Inhale long and slow. And then as you exhale, release. Let's go side to side with the breath now. The inhalation will stretch that right side long. And as the breath goes out, let the right side relax. Now the left side, inhaling and exhaling. One more cycle at your own pace. Okay, now we'll take the legs back up to straight, resting them against the wall as best you can. Let's place the hands together behind the head and press your elbows down any amount possible. Now shrug your shoulder blades up towards your ears. Inhale, and as you exhale, slide the shoulder blades down towards your waist. Let's do that again. Inhale and exhale. And again. Great. Now bend your knees on down towards your chest and keep pressing your elbows down towards the floor. I'm going to scoot out from the wall a little bit because the bookcase is going to be in my way otherwise. But I'll bend my knees on up as if the wall were still there. Now let's keep the elbows on the floor, and as much as possible join your feet and your knees. And then let's take the knees over towards the right a little bit, keeping the elbows and the shoulder blades pressing into the floor. It might not be a very big movement. Then as you exhale, bring your knees back into that center line. Let's take the knees to the left now, pressing the shoulder blades and the elbows down. And with an exhalation, we'll take the knees back to center. Let's go side to side with breath now. Inhaling, the knees go away from center. And exhaling, they come back. All the while, the feet are just sliding along the wall, unless you'd like to take them off the wall. I'm not having a choice here because of the furniture set up in my room, but you might have that option. All right, now we're going to let the knees come all the way to the right, the way that we usually do. And don't worry if your left shoulder blade or elbow come up off of the floor. We'll keep the hands laced behind the head. Now, I don't know if you can see, but my knees are a little offset here. So I'm going to slide my left knee all the way over on top of my right. And then I'll turn my head to the left. So my elbow is floating way up off of the floor. But I'm going to breathe into that whole area that feels resistance. I'm going to guide the prana, and I want you to do the same thing. Breathe into your chest, your armpit, the arm. I also feel a lot of sensation along the side and back on the left. So just bring that irrigation in, as if to say to those parts, it's okay. I'm so steady that I can manage being with you, even though you might be a little reactive. Stay with your breath. And then we're going to unlace the hands from behind the head. Your right arm reaches out to the right. I wanted you to be able to see my hand. I wonder if I can move over any further so that you can see my hand. Well, we'll have to just go with my verbal instructions. And then the left hand is going to come over on top of the right hand. So now we have knees, hips, hands, and shoulders all stacked up. But we're going to slide that left hand further forward so that your chest rolls towards the floor. Stay here for a few breaths, really breathing under that left shoulder blade. It seems like, well, you know how the dust bunnies get kind of stuck under pieces of furniture and behind things? It seems like there's a bunch of funk that just gets sort of stuck under the shoulder blade there. So let's give it some breath and some prana and invite it to loosen. And now let's give it some movement. So as you exhale, slide your hands to stack up on top of each other again, and then slide your left hand a little back of the right so your chest rolls up towards the sky. Then let's go the other way again, sliding the left hand on top and past the right hand. And we'll move back and forth. Breathe into that area, and if there's a breath rhythm that suits you, then work with that. Good. Now stack the hands up again, and we're going to take the left arm over towards the left. We'll roll the chest up towards the ceiling, and you can bring your knees back to center, and then stretch your legs up the wall again. So I'm using a pretend wall here, that's why you won't see my legs resting against the wall. And then let's bend the knees down towards the chest again, this time lacing your hands together behind your head again. We'll press the elbows and shoulders down towards the floor, and then we'll take the knees over to the left. So again, it's the opposite shoulder that's likely floating up off of the floor. Nonetheless, let's stack that right knee right on top of the left, and then turn your head to the right any amount that's possible. Breathe into that resistance in your body along your chest, your armpit, your arm. Again, I feel that stretch on my side and my back. Maybe it's more your neck that's feeling the stretch. And bring in the breath, the irrigation of prana and life, like water coming into the different parts of a tree. Okay, now we're going to unlace the hands. Stretch the left arm out. Again, I'll have to adjust so you can see a little bit better. And bring the right hand on top of the left. Now first we'll slide the right hand forward to the left and just pause there, breathing under that right shoulder blade. And then we'll go with the movement. Sliding the hand back, the chest turns towards the sky. Sliding the right arm forward, chest turns towards the floor. Breathing in, irrigating, bringing consciousness and life force and breath. Stack the hands up again. Now instead of coming up, bring that right hand down to the floor. Press into your hand and lift yourself up from the floor. We're going to stretch out now, full length along your mat. So I'll adjust my camera again. Maybe I'll move it on the back. There we go. And then you can see my whole mat. Now I've got a yoga block. I'd like you to have something like a yoga block, maybe a water bottle, maybe a rolled up towel or blanket, and come back down onto your back. Let's start with that pelvic tilting we often do, the spinal undulations. So with the inhalation, the belly is going to move up towards the sky. And as you exhale, the belly will soften down toward the back body. Inhaling is arching. Exhaling, lengthening the low back. Now take one of your hands the next time you arch and tuck it behind your low back. And when you exhale and lengthen, be sure that you're not smashing that hand, that there's a little space. So we inhale and arch. And then when we lengthen, we're kind of putting the brakes on so that we can start to awaken that low abdominal area. Keep with the rhythm. And feel how the breath again can be used to bring awareness into this low back area. Okay, pause a moment and take your block, or whatever you're using as a block, and bring it between the upper thighs. Use your thighs to hug the block. So now we're going to use the squeezing of the thighs to keep awakening that low belly area. Here we go. We arch the back. You can relax the leg squeezing. And then when you lengthen, squeeze your block at the same time. Inhaling, we arch. Exhale, we tone and lengthen. Stay with this. Or if you like more abdominal toning, a stronger practice, place your hands together behind your head again. And when you inhale, you press the elbows down. And when you exhale, you can curl up into a little sit-up. Do what's right for you today, letting the focus be more on your breath. That steadiness, the strength of the tree trunk, you might be able to bring some of it more and more into the body with this toning of the core sheath. If you like a little variety, you could start to put a little twist in when you curl up into your sit-up, pulling the elbow toward the opposite hip. And whether or not you're enjoying or participating in the sit-ups part of this, let's start to also work with the neck vertebra so that when you arch your back, you're also going to arch your neck by swinging your chin away from your chest. And then you draw your chin in towards the collarbones when you exhale. So we're coordinating a lot of body parts here. If it gets to be more than you need, if you feel overstimulated, then leave something out, and you can decide what to leave out and what to include. So these are a lot of movements that we do every week or many weeks, but we're putting a lot of things together today. I want to add one more possibility if you're feeling like, oh, this is totally manageable, and that's to work with the feet so that when you inhale, you rock onto your heels. And when you exhale, you rock onto your toes. You might notice if you're adding the feet that it adds another layer of depth to the core work. If you're feeling like a super achiever today, when you point your toes, you could lift them lightly off the floor. Only if it doesn't bother your back. Let's go once more to each side. And then when you come down, remove the prop from between the thighs. Place your hands together behind your head still, and then heel toe your feet wider apart till they come to the edges of your mat. Let's let both knees rock over to the right side now. Press into the outer right foot and the inner left foot. Really push those feet down into the floor. And then let's add a side bend to the right. Draw your right elbow towards that right knee. And then turn your gaze towards the left. Maybe turn your head as well. Where can we send that breath and that irrigation through prana now? Let's take another inhalation together. And as you exhale, take your trunk to center and bring your knees to the center. Rock the knees over to the left side now, and let's feel the inner right foot and the outer left foot pressing down. And then we'll add that side bend to the left, the gaze turning to the right, maybe your head turning right as well. Keep circulating, keep irrigating, watering, nourishing this body. With the next exhalation, we'll come back to the center. And now let's move side to side with the breath. Side bending right, knees go to the right, head turns left. Exhalation brings you back to center. Inhaling, knees right or left, side bend to the left, look to the right. Exhale, back to center. Move with the rhythm of your own breath, irrigating and circulating prana. Maybe you need a smaller movement or a slower movement. Maybe you want to pause. And let's make our way back to the center. Heel toe your feet back together. And then let's take the arms down along your sides. We'll bring the block back in now. Place the block between your upper inner thighs. And again, use the thighs to hug the block. Now, bring your feet in a little bit closer. And really press down through the heels. Let's rock the toes up off of the floor. Squeeze the block as you're rocking onto your heels. And then bring your toe mounds back down and you can let go of that squeezing. Now push into your toe mounds. Keep your toes and toe mounds on the floor, but lift your heels up and squeeze the block at the same time. Inhale. Exhale and bring those heels back down. Now let's lift just the toes off the floor and push into the toe mounds and the heels. Squeeze the block. And now we're going to lift the hips up off the floor into a small bridge pose. Keep pressing down through all those points of the feet that I mentioned and hug your thighs against the sides of the block. Engage the hamstrings and the glutes by pulling your heels in towards your trunk. Pull the feet isometrically along the floor and feel that toning in the backs of your legs and your bum. Now take a breath in, and as you exhale, slowly lower your hips down. Once you've landed on the earth, take your block out. We're going to put the block on the low belly, and then bring the feet together and the knees wide apart. So the place where we were really toning the inner thighs, feel for the possibility of circulating your breath into that area now. Sometimes really toning the muscles actually opens the gateways for the breath, for the prana, the healing to come in. While you're here in Upavista Konasana, let's bend the elbows at 90 degrees and bring your elbows in close by your sides. Now, press your shoulders down into the floor. Press them down really strongly, as if there were a hand on each shoulder and it's helping you press the shoulders down. Now relax your shoulders and press your elbows down into the floor. Try to make an elbow dent in your floor. Inhale. Exhale and release that pressing. Now let's press both the elbows and the shoulders at the same time down into the floor. Try to make the amount of pressing equal between the shoulders and the elbows. At the same time, reach up through your fingertips. Imagine you're trying to lengthen your forearm bones by reaching the fingertips up and pressing the elbows and shoulders down. Take an inhalation And when you exhale, totally relax your arms. Let them come to rest on the floor again. With the arms relaxed, slide your shoulder blades up towards your ears, like you're shrugging, saying, I don't know. And when you exhale, slide your shoulder blades down towards your waist. Let's do that again, sliding up and sliding down. Once more, this is called elevating the scapula or the shoulder blades. And the other one is called depressing the scapula. Let's keep them depressed for a minute. And we'll bend the elbows again at those 90-degree angles. Keeping the shoulder blades moving towards your waist. Again, press the elbows and shoulders evenly down and reach up through your fingers. Notice what happens with the shoulder blades away from the waist. Good. Inhale. Exhale and relax the arms again. Let them come to rest. Now, take hold of your block between your hands. Whatever you're using, press into it with your hands. Press into that block with your hands and draw your shoulder blades down towards your waist in the back. Let's keep pressing whatever your prop is and slowly straighten your arms up towards the ceiling. Press into the hands. Draw the shoulder blades down towards your waist. And now let's start to move the block towards overhead with an inhalation. And as you exhale, bring the block back down in line with your chest. Let's do that again. Inhaling. Still pressing, still taking shoulder blades towards your waist. And exhaling, bringing the prop right back in line with your chest. This time we're going to go all the way as close to the floor as we can. Reach the arms up, still pressing the block. Reach, reach, reach. Might not go very far. Might go all the way to the floor. Who knows what's possible in your body today. Let's take an inhalation with the arms still here. And now as you exhale, bring your knees back together. Good. Separate your feet a little bit wider so they're hip distance apart. Then we're going to press into the feet and use the leg strength to help bring the arms back up in line with the shoulders. And then let's take the block all the way back between the thighs. Okay, let's pause a moment here to feel for that circulation of prana and life force. Maybe you feel tingling or shaking. And we're going to put that all together. Bend your elbows, bring them close in by your sides. If you have a sweater on that's getting in your way, as I do, move it out of the way so you can have the best contact possible between your arms and the floor. Elbows poke down, shoulders press down, fingers reach up, and the shoulder blades toward the back of the waist. Now bring your feet in a little closer to your sitting bones. Press into your feet. Inhale. Squeeze the block. As you exhale, lift your hips up towards a bridge pose. So now we can use the whole body, upper body and lower body, for this back bend. What will help the bridge come up higher is to bring the shoulders closer to each other. So you can rock side to side and tuck your shoulders underneath you even more and feel that stretch across your chest. And then again, let's press the arms and the feet down and lift the bridge up high. Breathing in, breathing out. Hug the block with your thighs. We'll be here for one more breath. And then with the exhalation, you can spread your shoulders apart. Let the hips come slowly down. Let's remove the block again. Put it on the low belly. Feet together, knees apart. Now let's just reach the arms casually overhead, letting them stay a little softer with a bend in the elbows. And feel the block on your abdomen, rising up and down with your breath. One more cycle of breath here. And when you exhale, your arms can come down. Let's move the block off to the side. And we'll use an exhalation to bring the knees back together. Here we go. Inhale. Exhale, draw the thighs toward the center line again. Let's stretch the legs out long now. And bring your hands together in front of your heart. Lace your fingers around the backs of the opposite hands. Turn your hands inside out and stretch the arms up. So again, we'll bring the shoulder blades towards the waist. Let's push out through the feet. Inhale. Exhale, take the arms overhead. Feel the strength and steadiness of that tree trunk image we were using earlier. Can you nourish your whole being with this breath, with the prana, with the water that soothes and softens? One more inhale together. And as you exhale, bend your elbows and bend your knees. Now we're going to roll over to the side. Come on over to your side and use your hand for a pillow. And just pause there. Notice the sounds of the birds or the traffic, or maybe your refrigerator. What do you hear now? Bring your palm to the floor now. Pressing into your palm, lift yourself up. And we're going to come right into all fours. Place your hands under your shoulders. Let's work a little more with the shoulders here. Slide the shoulder blades towards your ears and towards your waist. Move with your breath, inhaling and exhaling. Seems like my sweater doesn't want to stay out of the way. Maybe I'll tie it up and see if that helps. So notice what's different here from being on your back. Now the next time your shoulders come up near your ears, round into the cat shape. Stay into that bowed shape of the spine, but move the shoulder blades towards your waist. And then let's take the whole rest of the spine into the cow shape. So your belly drops, your collarbones and your head lift. We'll stay in the cow shape, but bring the shoulders up by the ears. Now let's take the rest of the back into the cat shape. Shoulder blades move again. We'll adjust into cow. Sliding them up, that's the elevation. Rolling into cat. Sliding in the other way, that's depression. Arching into cow. One more time, lead with the shoulder blades. Let the rest of the posture follow. And then come to your neutral spine. We've been on the hands for a little while here, so let's tuck the toes back and come into a variation of child's pose. We've got the toes tucked under, arms reaching out, and then you can turn your palms upward to give your wrists some relief and stretch. Turn the palms back down, come back up to all fours. Now, we're going to keep the ribs moving up towards the sky. So it's a little bit of bowing in the upper back. And then slide the right leg back till it's straight. Without letting the back come out of that bow shape, let's raise the right leg up. Raise it up any amount you can, keeping your toes pointed down towards the floor. Stay here, or if you want more, you can lighten the left hand and slide the left fingers forward. If you still want more, you can raise your left arm up. Breathing in, continue to circulate the prana. Now from the foot to the fingertips. Where else does your body need the support? Keep the ribs moving up towards the sky so your abdomen is toned and supportive. And take one more inhale, then lower your leg and your arm. Let's do one round of cat and cow here. Shrugging into the cow shape first. feel like I did that backwards. Maybe I did. Shoulder blades to the waist, and we'll move to the cat. I think that I did that absolutely backwards. And we'll go back to a neutral shape. So we have a little more of that cat shape in the upper back. Stretch the left leg back. Then we'll raise the leg. Reach out through the heel, make the leg as straight as you can. Now possibly lighten the right fingertips. Maybe slide them forward. Maybe raise your arm. Keep your gaze straight down so the back of your neck is long. Find that breath. One more long inhale. Exhale, lower your leg, lower your arm. Now we're going to do a little bit of stretching for the shoulder. So first, raise your right arm up and turn to your right. Then lace your right hand behind the left wrist. Slide the arm out. You're coming all the way down into the back of your shoulder if possible. You could also stretch your left arm out over by your ear. Where would that breath be helpful now? So again, if you're craving more, if you need more challenge today, slide your left leg back straight along the floor again. And then there's also the option to raise that leg up from the floor, a little balance practice. If your leg came up, bring the toes down first, and then the knee. If your arm slid forward, bring it back in under your shoulder and press it down. Rise up to all fours. And let's see if I can coordinate the cat-cow shoulder blade thing again. Let's deep press the shoulder blades towards the waist, and that's when we arch into the cow. Slide them up at the elevation and round into the cat. And then back to neutral, keeping that cat shape in the upper back. Now it's the left arm that sweeps up and slides down, palm up behind the right wrist, coming down onto your shoulder and head. Maybe slide that right arm out straight. Maybe slide that right leg out and possibly balancing there. Only if you need extra challenge. I'm feeling pretty shaky here, so I'm keeping my toes on the floor this time. If your leg is raised, lower it. Then bring your knee down. Right hand under your shoulder. Press down. Rise back up to all fours. One more round of cat and cow at your own pace. And then let's meet in a seat. We'll do a little bit of neck releasing now. Take your left hand down towards the floor. Lean your head over to the right. Really reach down through the left hand like you're trying to press down through your blanket, through your mat, through the floor. And then send your breath all into that whole region. Good. Bring your head back up. Let your arm relax. Reach out again. And this time, before leaning your head to the side, turn and look 45 degrees. You're halfway between looking forward and looking to the side. And then relax your ear towards your shoulder again and send your gaze downward. Keep reaching through that left arm and fingers and send the prana down those channels. And maybe they're new channels that you're finding and opening there. Okay, let's bring the head back upright. Relax your arm. One more time, reach at a low diagonal all the way to touch the floor. This time turn your head all the way to the right and then let your chin drop down towards your shoulder. Gaze at the floor. Breathe over on the left side. Okay, raise your head, bring it back to center. Bring that left hand to rest on your lap and just feel. Okay, now the right hand reaches out and we'll tilt the head to the left. Prana circulating on the right. All right, head comes up, relax your arm. Stretch the arm out again, turn the head 45 degrees, and then the chin comes down towards the collarbones. With an inhalation, bring your head up, back to center, and relax your arm. And now that third variation, reaching, turning all the way left, and then the chin comes down. Head comes up, back to center. Bring the right hand onto your lap. Now let's make some slow circles of the shoulders. We've worked a lot with these shoulders and shoulder blades today. Let's give a nice soothing relief to the shoulder area. Wonderful. Let's do a gentle twist before Shavasana. Take your right hand across to the left knee, left hand behind, and turn through your belly. Turn, turn, turn. Look all the way to the left, and then look all the way to the right. Look over that right shoulder. Let's breathe in together. And with the out breath, untwist, unwind. Let's go right on over to the other side. Left hand comes across, right hand behind you. Sit tall, and then turn your trunk. Turn and look over the right shoulder. Breathe in. And with the out breath, turn and look over the left shoulder. Now let's breathe in together. And as you exhale, turn to the center. Grab that block or whatever you're using for a prop. And we're going to do one small forward bend before our full Shavasana. So forward bend might mean sitting up straight. That might be plenty for your hamstrings and your back. If you want more, you can start to slide the prop forward, staying supported on it. You can also do this with the seat of a chair. Sliding out, keep the sitting bones grounded down. Legs are heavy. The trunk might be coming forward. Send your gaze down to the floor. Feel the heaviness and the steadiness of your hips and your legs, the strong, grounded tree trunk. If this is feeling like it's too much for your back, you can have your palms on the floor instead and sit up taller. If you're wanting more, you could fold your elbows on top of your prop and rest your head on your folded arms. Make it just right for your needs today. Now press your hips down, press your arms or hands down, lift your head up. Then whatever variation you've chosen, let's have the hands on the floor so that you can safely come back up to your upright seat. Now we can move that prop off to the side and we're going to come to Shavasana. If your back feels tender or aggravated, you can always put a chair behind your calves there, or you can put your legs up on your couch or your bed or whatever you have that's about the height of the backs of your legs. Otherwise, let's stretch the legs out straight along the floor. Wrap up a little bit if you're chilly like I am. And then let's let the arms just rest quietly. Let's feel now the whole shape of the body on the floor. Every point of contact. And now soften into every place where your body meets the earth. Let your eyes relax down. And let your belly soften down as well. Begin now to slowly deepen your breath. Feel the pathways that the prana can travel now. We made these irrigation channels. And you can bring life force and healing and stabilizing to your whole body. Wait for an exhalation to bend your knees. And then with knees bent, roll on to one side. And again, tuck your hand under your head for a pillow. Put the other palm down on the floor and help yourself up to a seat for our closing. Bring your hands together at your heart. Feel the breath again and this robust, sturdy trunk of a tree that you've made in your body. Notice the sounds around you, the liveliness of the world. And then it might be more enjoyable now that you have this steadiness inside of you. Thanks so much for coming to practice today. Namaste. I hope you have a wonderful weekend and a wonderful week, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.